Greetings, Donald Burns here with another CIO Resume Makeover. Today we'll analyze the resume of Sudhakar Gordy. We call him SG. He's a technologist and executive, extremely successful, but he avoids the spotlight. SG likes to run big operations behind the scenes as the CEO's right hand. You'll notice he does not yet have a photo on his LinkedIn profile. This makeover teaches a great lesson. Here we have one of the most successful people you can imagine, but on his resume he looks like an unsuccessful nobody. We'll fix that pronto. First, a quick look at his old resume, page 1, page 2, and here's a quick look at his new resume, pages 1, 2, and 3. Here are 4 key points to consider about this resume makeover. 1, his original resume is barely readable. It's a data dump of unorganized bullets. Worse, in 2 cases, the text is packed into dense blocks that I call rat's nests. Key rule: if it looks difficult to read, nobody will read it. 2, no context, no success stories. Normal human beings cannot digest data like computers. In a minute, I'll show you how to organize this data dump into memorable success stories. 3, there's no branding. Somewhere, right at the top, you must announce what you're really good at. Jeff Bezos says your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. But there's no personal brand on this resume. Number 4, missed opportunities to stand out in a good way. You want to use everything you've got in your background to make a great impression. Now let's take a closer look and I'll show you how these 4 points come into play. Let's take a quick look at the old resume. Here's page 1. First, let's compare the intro sections. On his old resume, we've got one dense paragraph. In addition to being difficult to read, the content of this paragraph could apply to almost anybody, so it has no impact. Compare that to the intro on his new resume. The intro tells a real story about SG. First, we've added a headline. What does SG want? Where is he going? This headline is hugely important because it orients the reader in the first seconds. Number 2, we've added a grabber. Actually, this is the first of 2 grabbers. It shows 3 of the biggest highlights of his career. We put this up at the top to establish his credibility as a serious player in the first seconds. Here's his new summary paragraph. Unlike the old, this one applies uniquely to SG. It's like a fingerprint. We learned his reputation. Somebody who gets big projects done at record speed, gets things done right, and does so with minimal loss of people. Wow, that's a big claim. Can he prove it? Yes, we'll do that in the experience section. By the way, we've added a second grabber, a direct quote from the chairman of his current company. The intro section will make you or break you. If you can't catch the reader up here, you'll never convince the reader on pages 2 or 3. The intro packs 80% of the impact of a resume. It's like the warhead of a missile. So here are the first 2 jobs in SG's experience section. They do not look very impressive. They're just 2 blocks of hard-to-read text. Now, let's compare the experience sections before and after. Number 1, the old resume's experience section. We see the first 2 jobs here, 2 blocks of text. I call these blocks jigsaw puzzles because SG is showing the pieces of a puzzle, not showing a clear picture of anything. Remember at the beginning I mentioned 4 key points? Number 1 was poor readability, and number 2 was no context. A jigsaw puzzle shows points with no context, and that's what we're fixing here. Instead of showing puzzle pieces, we assemble those pieces into a clear picture of the results that SG produced for employers. We'll organize his bullets into a summary of the problem, the actions he took, and the results for the employer. This format is very easy to follow. Here's the new resume with experience presented as success stories. Now back to the experience section, the old resume. Here we're looking at 2 older but very important jobs, General Electric and Sun. Here again, 2 blocks of text, but these 2 are really bad. I call these 2 paragraphs rat's nest because the verbiage not only dense, it's unreadable, and it's all tangled up with different dates and places and ideas. If you've never seen one, here's what a real rat's nest looks like. This example shows a rat's nest of cable and wires. On the old resume, here's a sentence from his experience in the section for GE. I pulled one sentence from that rat's nest and it makes no sense. Talks about thought leadership, product parity amongst digital competitors, delivering viewership continuity. Readers have no idea what he's talking about. Here's a plain language translation. The new resume clearly explains his accomplishments. SG led creation of the Hulu channel, which stopped a competitive threat from YouTube. Wow, that's a big claim. Also, he led creation of GE's first digital asset management system, and that led to multi-million-dollar contracts with Apple iTunes. Wow again. Powerful information, but hidden from the readers. Do you see how that rat's nest strangled his success story? His new resume fixes all that. Here it is. That first resume had no impact, zero. When you read a story on this new resume, there's only one possible reaction from the readers, namely, how can anybody not want to interview this person? I'm out of time. Gotta go. Please stay tuned for our next episode of CIO Resume Makeover.